There is a tall, imposing gentleman guarding the door. He appears to be wearing a German military uniform.
This affair is by invitation only, Fräulein. Your papers, please. I am sorry, but I have no time to talk, Fräulein. I am the chief of security, you understand. I have much responsibility.
While this is an interesting...
Danke, Fräulein. I'll return this pass when you are leaving. Enjoy yourselves this evening.
It's a colossal bust of the pharaoh Ramses II, discovered at the Ramesseum, his mortuary temple on the Nile's west bank opposite present-day Luxor. The complete Ramses statue stood nearly 60 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 tons. Presumably Ramses was not this large in life, although many people have stated that Ramses had a big head.
Heard any good rumors lately?
Maybe, or maybe not. What's it worth to you?
Well, I don't have any money right now.
Then I ain't got no rumors for you, Toots.
Heard any good
Augustini. Augustini, yeah, that name rings a bell. Oh yeah, ain't he the concierge at the plaza?
You ask yourself,
Can't help yous with that, Toots. The new museum prez? Stodgy old guy, but a fine chap. Yeah, that's it, a fine chap. Good man. I'll tell ya, most of the cops around these towns stink. But O'Reilly's different. He's okay. He really knows how to treat a mouthpiece, you know? I made some good jack working for him.
You've met Rube Crodfaller, haven't you?
Certainly I have. Definitely one of the most up-and-up guys I know. Keeps his nose clean, but knows how to have a good time. No, he ain't in my privileged circle of friends and acquaintances. Isn't that what they named us stiffs when they don't have an ID?
I'm sorry, but I simply have to say that your pronunciation is dreadful.
Hey, that's an insult, right?
What's up with this Ziggy joker?
Hey, watch your mouth. You're talking to him. That lady's scary. I've been avoiding her. Nice working, girl. I knew her when. Now she's a big hotshot museum, what do you call it? Back then, she was a streetwalker, if you catch my drift. I don't think I've heard of him. Quiet guy most of the time. Accountant, I think. Boy, I'll tell you, those Egyptians know some crummy jokes. Yeah, the dock worker. I know that guy. He ain't in my inner circle, though. Don't know much about the Joe. What makes you think I knows anything about a dame like her? She won't even have anything to do with me. I don't know anything about her. Why ask me?
That's odd. She seems to know you.
She did. What did she say? It ain't true. Listen, that old cow couldn't keep a secret if her life depended on it. I ain't taking the rap for her anyways. Now leave me alone before I calls the cops. Or somebody. You mean the newspaper?
Have you had any contact with the police?
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. I'm sort of a freelance detective. I find things out that the police can't, then I pass along the information. For a price.
Sounds like a most valuable service.
Oh yeah, they couldn't do their jobs right without me. Nice guys, them cops. Kiss me flush. Salts of the earth.
You ask. You ask. You ask.
Laundry. Oh, you mean like washing her clothes? No, I does that myself.
You ask.
You're familiar with the 12th Street docks, aren't you?
Not me, lady. Mostly your unsavory types hang out down there. I know everything's not what it looks to be, but then what is? Same with all these Mocky Mucks. Look, appearances can be deceiving. Me, do I look like the brother of a famous Broadway producer? No, but I am! You know, some days it's a rich smelting pot, but some days it's a big cesspool. But you gotta rise to the top, like scum, and keep your feet and your nose clean. That's how I does it anyway. I don't need no notebook. I already knows everything. My peepers, I never needed one.
How was your year, Mr. Ziggy?
Superb. Simply superb. First I mix a sawbuck on the Tunny Dempsey match. Now here I am rubbing elbow grease with a hoity-toity. Thanks for asking. I know the dagger was heisted. I might even know who done it, but I ain't talking.
If you know, why won't you go to the police?
All I got is a suspicion. I got nothing hard. Besides, what have the cops done for me lately?
This is in the interests of justice. Who are you trying to protect?
I'm trying to protect me. Now flip.
Tell me about Egyptology.
We talked about that before, remember? I told you that crazy Egyptian riddle that Ramses guys passed along.
Monsieur Agostini, you know him? I understand he's a very powerful man at the newspaper. I would like to meet him sometime. Bonjour, Miss Beau. Dr. Carrington told me you were covering this party for the newspaper. I'm Yvette Delacroix.
That's right, Miss Delacroix. I'm writing the social news column.
Ah, the social news. I was thinking you were here about the burglary.
The burglary? Of course not. The newspaper would never assign a female cub reporter like myself to such an important story.
Ah, you are probably being correct, Miss Beau. Miss Beau. Ah, Monsieur Pippin, he is such a great man. And quite attractive, no? Dr. Carrington is my superior, so I'd rather not be saying the bad things about him.
What bad thing?
He is very strange, even for a man. Ah, but you are trying to trick me, no? It's best that I am not talking about him.
I assume you've met him before tonight.
Oh yes, we are, how do you say, the old friends. And it never hurts to have the highly placed friend on the local police force, no?
I suppose that's true. What do you think of his burglary investigation?
People here, they keep saying Monsieur O'Reilly, his investigation of the dagger is not good, but he tries very hard. I have seen him work, but the dagger thief, he is very good, no?
He? You think the burglar was a man?
It is only the manner of speaking, Miss Bow. This burglar, she could have been the female as well. Ah, the godfather! I met him only once on the train. The train was the sleeper car. It was dark, and I climbed into his berth by mistake. He will always remember that meeting, I am sure. I, unfortunately, will have forgotten it in a few months. The low-fat, I know him. The little laundry I take to the cleaners, low-fat does it himself. We have the deal he enjoys, so it costs me nothing. I do not believe I have met your father, Miss Bow, unless it was long ago and I have forgotten. I have met so many men, it is hard to keep track of them all. The annoying little man, I met him at this speakeasy long ago, but he is not my class of person, no. He is of the criminal type. Dr. Miklos and I, we have much of the fun together. She is very friendly. Many times we have run through the museum chasing the daisy, no? Yes, I am Yvette Delacroix, but I am not one to be talking about myself too much, no? I am not like the great Dr. Carter, who has so many of the great stories to tell. Monsieur Heimlich, he is the intense fellow, no? Very military, very stiff and straight. I feel very safe around him, but I also feel uncomfortable. He patrols the museum so much. It is strange the dagger was stolen from under his nose, no?
Do you suspect him of stealing the dagger?
Who knows? I am not the policeman. But he seemed very upset about the burglary. Maybe too upset, no? Monsieur Najir, he is a funny little man. I see him in many strange places in the museum, but he is only the accountant for us, so I don't understand why he is here all the time.
Do you think Mr. Najir could have stolen the dagger?
Why, because he is the Egyptian? I do not think so, Miss Bo, but I do not know him so very well. He is a man after all, and who knows how they are thinking. Ah, this Steve, he is so big and handsome, no? Ah, the Countess. She is not what she seems, no?
What do you mean?
Her last husband, he was afraid of her. He told me. Then as I learned more, I was becoming afraid of her too.
Why? She seems like a nice old lady.
It is all the act, no? She is a dangerous one. Now I think she is after Dr. Carrington's money, since I am seeing them together so often lately.
I don't understand. Why is she so dangerous?
Just be trusting me, Miss Bo. Stay away from the Countess. People die when she's around.
Oh dear.
I only read the financial section of the newspaper. The stock market, it is looking so good. I am going to buy some very soon. I support the police in every possible way I can. I have never been to the police station, but I know many street cops and detectives, and they are all the gentlemen to me. Monsieur Lofat, he does some of the laundry, but I do most of the lacy and delicate things myself, no? The dogs? Ah, there are many of the men down there, and they are so big and so charming. They have been very generous to me. The museum, it is such a wonderful place to work. The people, they are so friendly, and I am enjoying my work here. I intend to be the president someday. This speakeasy, it used to be the good place of the business for me, no? Then I got this job, so I don't have to do that anymore.
What kind of work did you do at the speakeasy?
I was the hostess there for a while.
With your appearance, you must have gotten a lot of tips.
I suppose you could be calling it that. I got the very big tips. It is a nice notebook, Laura. Take the good notes and you'll be the good reporter. Do not look at me too closely, Miss Bo. I found the line on my face yesterday and I am still upset about it.
Has this been a good year for you, Miss Delacroix?
Ah yes, every year is a good year for me, Miss Bo. It is all a matter of the attitude, no?
Why, that seems like a very healthy point of view.
Merci, Miss Bo. You are very kind. It is terrible to think someone could break into this museum and steal something so valuable. Monsieur Heimlich, he is all broken up about it, although he doesn't show it.
How did Dr. Carrington react to the burglary?
Dr. Carrington is a very dignified man. There is not much you can learn from his face. He seems to have taken the burglary very well, although he was angry with Wolf about the poor security.
Do you have any idea who might have stolen the dagger?
There are many suspicious people here tonight who could have done it. The Countess, for example, or the little man Ziggy. But I have not the proof, you understand? You should ask Dr. Miklos or Dr. Smith about that.
This is quite a party. Does the museum always have a big fundraiser when they open a new exhibit, Dr. Carter?
No, but they've never had such an important exhibit opening here before. And I'm an important curator with an important salary, so the museum wouldn't have been able to keep me employed here without financial assistance.
You must be very important for the museum to go to so much trouble.
Naturally. The museum is lucky that I accepted this position as the head of their new Egyptian antiquities department. Why, my name alone will attract more visitors and more money to the museum.
Any chance that the Tutankhamun exhibit will make a stop here on its American tour?
No. I'd hate to embarrass my relative by putting his Tutankhamun artifacts on display here. They pale by comparison to my own great discoveries, such as the Dagger of Amon Ra.
Of course. How silly of me to think otherwise.
Yes, that was rather silly of you.
You already asked me this, Miss Bow.
I believe he was the Emperor of Rome just after Justinian. That's me, you silly girl. If you want to arrange an in-depth interview, we'll have to schedule it later in the week. You already asked me that, you silly female.
You already asked me.
Dr. Carrington is a fine chap. He used to be in charge of the British Museum, you know. I ran into him several years ago when I visited the British Museum to consult with Dr. Butch. Seems odd that Dr. Carrington doesn't remember me, but I almost didn't recognize him either. He's getting old after all. Looks different. Memory's probably shot as well. Ah, yes. Can't say I'm too impressed with Detective O'Reilly. Couldn't find a single bloody clue about the Dagger burglary. And he has the nasty habit of chewing on grapes constantly, probably to cover up the smell of the alcohol he drinks. A crodfollow is some sort of miniature vegetable, isn't it? A potato, perhaps. He runs one of the local Chinese laundries. Pretends to be Chinese so he can get more business, but he has a terrible accent. A relative of yours, perhaps? Rather an unfortunate name, I think. Dr. Miklos is rather eccentric, but she is well educated. Received her training at one of the better universities in Athens, Greece. She's considered quite knowledgeable in the area of hieroglyphics, but her speciality is paleontology. She's fond of old bones. That trollop sleeps with everything that moves, and some things that don't. It's only by sheer strength of will that I've resisted her advances so far. Ah yes, Heimlich's the security chief here. Not a particularly good one, obviously, since the dagger was stolen right from under his nose. And he's rather too intense for my tastes. Of course I know Ramses. There were several of them, actually. Ramses I was pharaoh during the 19th dynasty from 1307 to 1306 BC, but Ramses II made more of an impact on ancient Egypt. From 1290 to 1224 BC, Ramses II undertook a succession of gargantuan construction projects which left his mark in the face of Egypt for thousands of years. His mortuary site at Thebes, the Ramesseum, contains a temple to Amon Ra, a royal palace, a mortuary temple, and several storerooms.
Actually, I was referring to Ramses Niger.
Never heard of him. Steve Dorian. The stevedore with the ridiculous name. He's the fellow who helped unload my artifacts from the steamship. If it weren't for his odd name, I would have forgotten him entirely. The Countess was married to the former president of the Leyendecker Museum, Sterling Waldorf Carlton. A good chap, but uninspired. Now she has her sights set on Dr. Carrington. It's one of those local scandal periodicals. The term yellow journalism comes to mind when I think of it, which means it's not much of a newspaper at all, really. It's more like printed chewing gum for the uneducated masses.
Now wait a minute. The Tribune is a fine newspaper of the highest quality. I know because I happen to work there.
You've just proven my point.
Well, I never.
Maybe that's your problem.
I don't have to stand here and take this abuse.
All right, you don't. You could just go away and make us both happy. The police station is the last refuge for the incompetents in this city. However, if you're looking for a constable, I'd suggest one of the donut shops. People tell me Low Fats is a good place to have laundry done, but he always puts too much starch in my shirts. That's why I arrived on the steamship Andrea Doria. I came over with the artifacts for the Egyptian exhibit. Apparently Dr. Carrington was also on that voyage from England, but I never ran into him aboard ship. Keeps to himself a lot, you know. With a little work, I can turn the Lion Decker into a world-class museum. But that can wait a few months until they decide to make me the president. Dr. Carrington will have to find other employment, of course, but I'm sure some lesser museum would be happy to have him on their staff.
Since you're new here, what do you think of New York? Isn't it exciting?
I hate it. It's crowded, it's noisy, and you Americans have no concept of how the class system is supposed to work. You go around treating each other like equals, which I find very distasteful. If you're referring to the local drinking establishments, they are quite illegal, and I don't condone their existence. I do drink on occasion, but only when the finest wines are available. No thanks, I already have a notepad. Don't bother me with such silly questions.
Would you say this has been a good year for you, sir?
Well, let's see. I made the most important archaeological discovery of all time. Almost everyone on the planet knows my name, and I've clinched a curatorial job I've been after for years. Yes, I'd say it has been a rather good year.
Seems to me you might have a problem.
A problem? Such as?
Well, you've accomplished so much this year. What are you gonna do next?
Next? What next? Don't bother me with such ludicrous questions, you silly female.
You must be very upset about the burglary.
Quite so. If I ever find out who stole my Dagger of Amon Ra, they won't live to regret it, I can assure you.
Oh my! Do you have any idea who would do such a thing?
I have my suspicions, but I need more proof before I subject him to the full force of my wrath.
Have the police learned anything?
Those incompetents? Hardly. They couldn't even find any clues around the dagger display.
Sounds like the burglar might have been a professional.
Perhaps. It's more likely the local constable couldn't find a clue if it jumped up and bit him on the bum.
Since you're an expert on the subject, what can you tell me about Egyptology?
I don't have time to explain the intricacies of my profession to a neophyte. If you're truly interested, I'd suggest several years of difficult study on the subject at one of your better universities. Once you've finished that, you can talk to me again.
Good evening, sir. My name is Laura Bow.
I am Ramses Najir, Miss Bow. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm afraid I do not know Mr. Agostini. I live a very quiet life, and I do not know very many famous people. A thousand curses on that man! He defiled the tombs of my sacred ancestors for his own personal glory. He doesn't care a fig for what's right and what's wrong. His own evil deeds will catch up with him, though. Just wait and see. I have heard a great deal about Mr. Carrington, but I do not know him very well. We have only spoken once or twice, but he seems like a cultured, charming fellow. Crodfallers? No, thank you. I try to restrict my intake of sugar. It has a bad effect on me. I'm afraid I do not know the gentleman. I lead a rather solitary life. Just me. John Bow is your father? I have never had the pleasure of meeting him. I have never been to New Orleans, you see. That much humidity does not agree with me. I do not know Ziggy very well, but he makes me uneasy. His eyes remind me of a jackal's. I met him briefly at the party, then avoided him the rest of the time. Dr. Miklos is a brilliant individual, but he is certainly a little strange. Ah well, we all have our foibles, don't we, Miss Bow? Miss Yvette is a charming young lady, and so friendly. She seems genuinely interested in Egyptology. We had a long discussion about tombs one time. I find Mr. Heimlich to be most intimidating. He seems to enjoy looming over people. Why, I am Ramses Nadir, Miss Bow. I am an accountant and a proud father of 2.5. Mr. Dorian is a very healthy-looking young man. His mother must have eaten well. The Countess is quite a colorful lady. She seems to enjoy life to the fullest, does she not? Just between you and me, she scares me a little.
Why is that, Mr. Nadir?
Well, she's just too enthusiastic for me, I suppose. I enjoy the Tribune very much, Miss Bow. I read the financial page every morning of my life. The police are useless. It is not the police who will uncover the thief of the dagger. It will be his own evil deeds turned back on him like an angry cobra. I personally do not use that laundry, Miss Bow. I go to an Egyptian laundry on 44th Street. They are wonderful with linens. Oh dear, the docks are very rough places, Miss Bow. I stay away from them. I would suggest that you do the same. Attractive young ladies like yourself are the favorite prey of the jackals who prowl there at night. The Lion Decker is a beautiful museum, Miss Bow, but I do not approve of the despoiling of my ancestors' tombs, much less the wanton display of their bodies and their personal effects.
Do you like the city of New York, Mr. Najee?
Well, it is a very lucrative place for an accountant to set up shop, but the city itself is rather large and frightening. I see you carry a notebook. I carry one too, in case I should think of some particularly exciting mathematical formula at an inconvenient time. How interesting. You carry a magnifier. Are your eyes poor? I am very nearsighted myself. It came from years of looking at tiny little numbers.
Mr. Najee, would you say that 1926 has been a good year for you?
Well, yes, I would have to say so. Business in America is booming, and many people need an accountant. I have not wanted for work, and my beloved wife Isis is soon to deliver our third child. I suppose I am as happy as a man should be.
Congratulations on the upcoming blessed event, Mr. Najee. What are your other children's names?
Well, there's Horus and Ammon, and the new baby shall be named Anubis, after the wise and just Lord of the Dead.
Oh, how lovely. But what if the child is a girl?
The name shall be Anubis either way. It is a wonderful name for either a boy or a girl.
Mr. Najee, would you have any idea who might have stolen the Dagger of Amon Ra?
No, but whoever did should be boiled alive. He should be fed to hungry crocodiles. His guts should be strung from the pyramids. He should... Oh, excuse me. I get a little passionate on the subject.
Quite all right, Mr. Najee. I understand. Are you an Egyptologist, Mr. Najee?
No, not professionally. I have always been interested in the history of my country and made a point of studying it. I am particularly interested in ancient Egyptian religions.
Good evening, Dr. Carrington.
Good evening, Miss Bow. Good evening. I'm afraid I don't know the gentleman. The fellow has quite an overinflated ego, but he's got a legitimate reason for it, I suppose. Why, that's me, young lady. Dr. Archibald Carrington III, at your service. Oh, he's a good enough chap for a law enforcement peon. I'm not acquainted with the chap. I've never even seen the chap. I've never met your father, Miss Bow, but I've a deep respect for the minions who uphold the law. Miss Bow, I find it vaguely offensive that you would even think that I know anyone named Ziggy. Dr. Miklas is one of the museum's most respected curators. I really haven't had much interaction with Miss Delacroix. Well, of course, she is my assistant, so I guess I should correct myself and say that I do have interaction with her, but I don't know her very well, really. He's a real pip. A genuine go-getter, that fellow. He does a jolly good job of guarding the museum. Jolly good. Now there's an intense personality. He doesn't look it, but there's something seething below the surface. I'm frightfully sure of it. In any case, the fellow is a fine accountant. A stevedore? I'm afraid I don't discourse with proletarian ruffians of that stripe. Now there's a lady who truly supports the arts. A real patron, that old girl. I don't read the newspaper, Miss Bow. I find it eternally depressing. Oh, those poor chaps do their best, I suppose. Good heavens, Miss Bow, my houseman does my laundry. I never go to public establishments when I can possibly avoid it. I've only been there once, but I found the docks to be full of pugilistic ruffians and parasite-infested rodentia. The Lion Decker is simply fantastic, Miss Bow. This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
Do you like New York, Dr. Carrington?
To be frightfully honest, at first I found it to be a bit rough around the edges. But now I'm beginning to see its somewhat primitive charm. Miss Bow, I wouldn't be caught dead in one of those nocturnal dens of iniquity. I dare say it's a bit forward for you to go about writing things about people in that little notebook of yours, Miss Bow. Some people cherish their privacy. I see you want to get a good look at our displays, Miss Bow. I have to respect that.
Have you found 1926 to be a good year for you, Dr. Carrington?
Yes, I would, Miss Bow. Frightfully good.
And what is that, Doctor?
It's not often that one gets the opportunity to head up the most respected museum in America, Miss Bow.
do you make of the theft of the dagger, Dr. Carrington?
It's simply beastly. What is the world coming to when crepuscular ruffians can invade a museum like Visigoths?
Do you have any idea who could have done such a thing?
Not at all. But if I did, I'd be tempted to teach the brute a lesson. Egyptology is all quite the fashion now, Miss Bow, but it's been a serious science for many years. I can recommend a number of fine books if you're interested.
You pick it up and place it in your purse. You can almost It's the doorway to the gift shop. You see a short, elderly woman dressed flamboyantly, and you suspect expensively, and sporting a grotesque amount of makeup. In fact, when she speaks, you notice small flecks of base coat chipping off of her jowls and tumbling onto her furred collar.
Hi, I'm Laura Bow, and I'm covering this event for the Tribune Society news column.
Good evening, Miss Bow. I'm the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carleton. Please be sure to spell my name right in your story.
It looks just like the Dagger of Amon Ra. Isn't it beautiful? The dagger shows Pittsburgh's high degree of craftsmanship. The dagger upon close inspection you see nothing new. The dagger shows a high degree of craftsmanship.
Fräulein, this gift shop is closed. You should not be here.
Oh, I'm sorry. The door was unlocked.
Unlocked? My assistant will be disciplined harshly for this mistake. Please rejoin the party now. I will be forced to injure you.
There I was, standing on the hillside above the excavation in the Valley of the Kings, with the faithful Mahmud describing the dance of the seven veils to me in great detail, when a shout rose up from the workers below us. Sensing an important discovery at hand, since I have a sixth sense about these things, I scurried downhill to see that a step had been uncovered in the sand. It turned out to be the entrance to the Temple of Amon Ra. I took the trowel from the Boskafir and cleared the sand away from the rest of the steps myself, revealing the entrance to the temple. The seal of the necropolis was intact on the door seal, indicating that the temple had not been disturbed. I knew that fate had brought me to the discovery I had been seeking for so long. Tireless after my exertion in clearing the staircase, I used a sledgehammer to break through the sealed doorway. Within lay the greatest accomplishment of my considerable career. Hidden within the darkness, untouched for thousands of years in the isolated temple, lay the magnificent Dagger of Amon Ra, the greatest discovery of modern archaeology.
Good show.
Magnifique, very impressive, Dr. Carter.
So, that's when you heisted it, right?
No, I didn't heist it, you annoying little man. I took it out of the temple and showed it to the workers, who immediately fell upon their faces, all 350 of them, to show respect for my accomplishment.
That's hard to believe, Dr. Carter. Egyptian workers have proudly worked the archaeological digs for many years. I would not think they'd exaggerate their respect for you to such an extent.
But then you weren't there, were you, Mr. Nagier?
Well, no, that's true.
And when was the last time you were in Egypt, Mr. Nagier? You seem to have lost some of your accent.
Well, it has been several years.
I thought as much.
Your discovery really was quite a remarkable achievement, Dr. Carter.
Was remarkable, Dr. Carrington? You mean it is a remarkable achievement. There has never been anything like it before.
Quite so. Correction noted, Doctor.
If you will all be excusing me, I see a man I need to speak to.
Certainly, Miss Delacroix. Certainly.
Steady bet. She's some dish, ain't she?
Yes, those Frenchwomen really have something. I don't think my wife would ever have done it in a mummy case.
In my vast experience of women from different lands, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Niger. I balked when a certain Frenchwoman suggested we have a deep conversation on the back of a dinosaur, but I was pleasantly surprised by the results.
Yes, Miss Delacroix is certainly the cat's pajamas, as the Americans would say.
Yeah, we does come up with some good sayings, don't we?
Quite.
Good Lord, I hadn't realized a woman was present. Please excuse us, Miss Bow.
Oh, I wasn't actually listening to you gentlemen, Dr. Carrington. I just happened to be standing here. Excuse me.
Ryan, I'm having the hardest of times keeping my hands off you.
Not here, Yvette. There's too many people.
They are not important. You are the most powerful man here, my Ryan.
What about that Carrington guy? He's president of this museum.
The doctor, he is old and weak. You are the young one and strong.
And what would you be wanting, Miss Bow?
Oh, well, I thought I heard you call my name.
You must have been hearing things. I didn't even mention your name.
Oh, sorry. I've got to be going now. Excuse me.
And what were you doing when that fancy dagger was being stolen then?
Let me see. I was sleeping in my hotel room.
You don't sound too sure about that.
I haven't been sleeping too well since I arrived in this country. I'm tired, so I'm not thinking too well.
You're not sleeping well. Would you be having a guilty conscience then?
I do not understand your meaning, Mr. O'Reilly. Perhaps it is the English. It is such a curious language, not as clear as the Egyptian.
Well, you say the dagger is what brought you to this country. If I were in your position, I'd be tempted to steal it.
Steal what has already been stolen? The Dagger of Amon Ra belongs to the Egyptian people, Mr. O'Reilly, not to Dr. Carter, not to this museum, and not to this country.
I'd be watching what you're saying, Dr. Smith. You're digging your hole deeper with every word.
Amon Ra will seek his own vengeance on those who have removed his dagger from Egypt. Amon Ra does not require my help.
You say you were sleeping when it was stolen. Were you alone?
That, sir, is none of your business.
Ah, that's where you're wrong, Dr. Smith. It is my business as long as you're a suspect in the burglary.
A suspect? Do you Americans have no shame? I'm here to gain the return of the dagger by legal means. Ask Dr. Carrington.
I have talked to Dr. Carrington, and I know he told you no dice.
The matter is not settled until the last camel drinks from the water of the oasis.
What's that? Some kind of Egyptian double talk?
Excuse me, sir, but I see a turkey leg on the buffet table that requires my attention.
If you want to know my theory about it, I think it was stolen by an Egyptian. No offense to your people, Mr. Nagier, but I think there is a secret sect of Egyptian sun worshippers who have sent an envoy here to steal the dagger.
Countess, I hardly think that's likely. Secret sects like you're describing haven't existed in hundreds of years.
Oh, really? And what makes you such an authority on secret sects, Mr. Nagier?
Well, I am only expressing my opinion, madam. I'm certainly not an expert on the subject.
Quite so. I think my theory is as good as anyone's, darling, and I heard it from a reliable source.
Oh? Who was that?
Never mind. Let's just say my source has never been wrong before.
There's always a first time for everything, Countess. I still find your theory far-fetched.
Since you seem to be listening, Miss Bow, what do you think of my theory?
What? Oh, I definitely think it's worth considering, Countess.
There, you see, Mr. Nagier, the press takes me seriously.
Of course, it is kind of far-fetched.
Well, I never! Excuse me.
Oh, did I say something wrong? I'm sorry.
So that's the deal, Countess.
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Yeah, no kidding. The wall's got ears around here. And so does certain nosy reporters, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I simply must speak to Dr. Carrington.
Sure thing, Toots. Well, ain't you the hoity-toity dame these days? I almost didn't recognize you with your clothes on.
Excusez-moi, am I knowing you, sir?
Ziggy's my moniker. You gonna pretend you doesn't know me?
You are making the joke with me, no? Perhaps you have confused me with someone else?
I ain't joking. You're Yvette Delacroix. I'd know that body of yours anywheres.
I am sure I am not knowing what you mean, Monsieur Ziggy.
Oh, I get it. Yous is worried one of these hi-hats is gonna hear us, right? Oh, okay. I'm clued in. We can talk later.
Are you enjoying the culinary delights this evening, Miss Delacroix?
This food, it is adequate. I do not eat so much. This way I maintain my figure, no?
Ah, yes, and a lovely figure it is, Miss Delacroix.
Merci, Dr. Carrington. You are so kind.
I feel we've known each other long enough. Please call me Archibald.
As you wish, Archibald. I am yours to command, as always.
Miss Bow, is there something I can do for you?
Oh, no. I was just admiring Miss Delacroix's dress.
Merci, Miss Bow. And your gown, it is a bit out of date, but charming nonetheless.
Thank you, I think.
Well, if you ladies will excuse me, I must mingle with the guests.
Well, well, look what the leprechaun's dragged in.
Hey, now watch what yous calls me, O'Reilly. I don't know what that leprechaun thing is, but I don't like the sound of it.
I'm sure you've been called worse things, smart guy.
Only by low-class type poisons, O'Reilly. By the way, ain't you afraid of being seen with me?
Cops talk to stoolies all the time, and I was wondering what you're doing here.
I'm a big patron of the arts. That's the kind of high-class guy I am.
You don't even know what the word patron means.
I does too.
Okay, what does patron mean?
Hey, ain't that the countess I see over there? I needs to talk to her.
One thing I am admiring about the Egyptian man is the way he is treating his woman, with the strong hand and the firm words.
Well, that is the proper way, as our culture teacheth us.
Which is not to say our culture is primitive by any means. Our civilization has evolved over thousands of years, so our methods are quite well thought out and practical.
And the Egyptian man, he is very skilled in the private matters as well, no?
Well, speaking for myself, I feel it is my sacred duty to be knowledgeable in all matters that concern me.
I've certainly had no complaints about my skills, Mrs. Delacroix.
Ah, Miss Bow, I didn't see you standing there.
Ahem. Well, I hear another turkey leg calling my name at the buffet table, so if you'll excuse me.
The turkey leg, it sounds good to me also. I'll accompany you, Dr. Smith.
Miss Bow?
Oh! Mr. Dorian?
That's right. We met at the docks.
Oh dear, your shoes. They aren't exactly formal.
Oh, well, I can explain that, but not right now.
I see. Well, what brings you here?
You.
Oh, me?
You told me you'd be here tonight and, well, I thought we should talk.
Oh, about what?
Could we step outside for a minute? The moonlight is very nice tonight.
Well, all right. I think I'd enjoy that.
I just wanted to explain to you who I really am.
You're not Steve Dorian?
Well, yes, I am Steve Dorian, but I felt like I didn't give you the most accurate impression of myself when I met you earlier today. But, gee willikers, I'm just not used to meeting attractive young ladies on the docks.
I wasn't down there looking for a man. I'm a professional journalist working on a story.
Oh, well, yes, of course you are. I didn't mean to imply anything. In fact, I was very impressed with your professionalism and with your smile. I just didn't want you to think I'm a common stevedore.
Well, I'll admit I was wondering what a stevedore was doing at this ritzy museum fundraiser.
My stevedore job pays the bills, but I'm aiming for a career as an artist. However, I'm really here because I'd hate myself for the rest of my life if I didn't try to see you again. Maybe I'm a fool, maybe you think we're too different, but I had to try.
Well, I'm very flattered. Are you always this nervous?
I'm not very good with women. I've spent all my time working ever since I was 10 years old, when my father died. I've never had a chance to date very much. Lately, I've spent my free time going to school.
I'm starting to think we're more alike than I first thought. My mother died when I was very young, so I was raised by my father. What kind of an artist are you?
I'm a painter, and I do a little sculpting.
How interesting. But I think that an artist would know enough not to wear work boots with his tuxedo at a formal party.
Oh, I said I'd explain that, didn't I? I was hoping nobody would notice. I had to blow 2 weeks' pay to rent this tux, but I didn't have enough left over to rent the fancy shoes. It's just that I had to see you again.
You spent all your money just to see me? My goodness, I don't know what to say.
Say you'll have dinner with me some evening. I may seem a little odd, but I promise that I'm harmless. I'd be honored to spend an evening with you and show you the sights around town.
Well, I don't usually, but you've gone to a lot of trouble to find me. I think I can trust you.
Really? You'll do it? Oh, thank you. You won't regret it. I'll make it a memorable evening. I'll paint for you. I'll dance for you. I'll sing for you. Anything you want.
Well, there's no need to get carried away. Let's see how dinner goes first.
Of course. You're absolutely right. I don't seem too anxious, do I?
Maybe just a bit, but that's okay.
Okay. I'll take a deep breath and calm down. I'll be fine. I'll do whatever you want.
I think this is the beginning of something important, Steve. I like you already. Let's go back to the party, Steve. I've got work to do.
Countess, they tell me you are married to the last museum president, no?
Yes, darling, that's correct. Sterling Waldorf Carleton was such a charming man, and so wealthy. My heart is just an empty void without him.
Yes, Sterling was such a nice man. It's too bad that he's worm food now.
Ew! I prefer to think that Sterling is still with me in spirit.
Oh, I'm sure his body is crawling with maggots by now. But if his spirit is with you, let me know because I'd love to see it.
It is hard to lose a loved one, no? I understand you were only married this short time, Countess.
Yes, I had only 2 short but charming months of married life with Sterling before he died.
And how long had you known this man before you were married?
Oh, we met just 1 charming month before we decided to get married. It was love at first sight.
Where did you meet him?
Oh, I had only been in this country a few weeks when I met Sterling on an offshore casino ship. It's quite legal to drink and gamble there, you know, and all the right people attend. Sterling was so charming, he just swept me off my feet.
This Sterling, he must have had the large broom.
It's just a manner of speech, my dear.
Sterling was a wealthy man. You must have inherited a nice fortune, Countess.
The money doesn't matter, darling. Actually, there's an annoying problem with the estate right now. It seems Sterling was changing his will when he died to give me more money, perhaps. Anyway, I'm sure my attorney will take care of the problem.
Too bad you can't dig him up to finish his new will.
Yes, quite.
The archaeology, it is such a masculine profession. Breaking into the ancient tombs with your sledgehammer, thrusting your way into the treasure chambers, touching the gold artifacts. It is also stimulating, no?
Yes, well, when you put it that way, I guess it is rather stimulating being the most important archaeologist of all time.
And it is such a burden to bear this greatness, no? With such pressure to perform, you must be perfect all the time.
Yes, you have a unique understanding of my problems, Yvette.
Your problems, they are obvious, no?
Very kind of you to say that, but there are many who misinterpret my actions. They don't understand the pressure of having famous relatives in the same line of work, and having to compare oneself to them all the time.
But the Tutankhamun find, it is nothing when compared to your discovery, no?
Correct. I didn't realize you knew so much about archaeology.
I know many things, Dr. Carter.
So I've heard. Maybe we should discuss archaeology sometime.
I'd love to hear about the work you do, Dr. Carter. Perhaps later tonight?
Will you be working late tonight?
Oh, yes. I think everyone will be here tonight, no? There is much to be done to prepare for the opening of your exhibit tomorrow.
I was planning a break for tea around 3 a.m. if you'd like to join me.
It sounds wonderful. Perhaps you would come by my office then?
I'd be delighted.
It is so gracious of you to take the time to speak with me.
Nonsense. Think nothing of it.
How will I ever repay you for this courtesy? I know how busy you are, Dr. Carter.
I'm sure we'll think of something. And call me Pippin. I told you to stop bothering me, you camel driver.
Dr. Carter, I will stop bothering you when the dagger is safely back in Cairo.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the bloody dagger has been stolen from the bloody museum, you great twit.
I see no reason to exchange epithets with you, Dr. Carter. I am aware of the burglary. I am also aware that no evidence was left behind, and the dagger case was not harmed. In fact, I think you removed the dagger from the exhibit.
Me? Me? And what bloody reason would I have to steal my own bloody dagger from my own bloody exhibit?
The dagger is not yours, Doctor. It belongs to the Egyptian people. As to why you stole it, I do not pretend to understand your twisted American thinking. Perhaps you wanted to keep the dagger for yourself, in your own private collection.
Perhaps I should ask why you're shifting the blame onto me, you insignificant peasant. It would be very clever of you to steal the dagger, then stay about to start rumors about someone else stealing it.
Only an archaeological thief would make such an accusation, Doctor. Now I'm sure that you stole it for yourself.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Did not?
Did.
Did not.
Did.
Gentlemen, please.
Who asked you?
Mind your own business, you nosy reporter.
But
I have more important things to do.
Our discussion is far from over, Dr. Carter.
That's what you think, you malodorous buffoon.
You are interested in the great art, no? Then you should come with me this evening. I'll give you the personal tour of the old master's gallery.
Well,
I guarantee that you will not be wasting your time. You will enjoy it very much.
Well,
You are studying the art at the université, no?
Well, yes, but...
Then it is settled. I will give you the private tour in a little while, no?
But
There is no need to thank me yet. I will be enjoying it as much as you will. You pick it up and place it in your purse. Although you're tempted to The suit of armor is empty. The mummified corpse of Amenophis III, also known as Amenhotep III or Memnon by the Greeks. He built large temples to Amon Ra, both at Karnak and at Luxor. In the 5th year of his reign, Amenophis marched into Nubia to quell a mighty rebellion. He also ruled over the Mesopotamians, since his kingdom was quite large. We also know that Amenophis was a mighty hunter who slew 102 lions during the first 10 years of his reign in his spare time. Now he's dead. It looks remarkably like a glass case in the shape of a pyramid. A small card informs you that this case contained the famous Dagger of Amon Ra, which is now missing.
Oops.
Congratulations! You've cracked the case of the Dagger of Amon Ra. The card The Rosetta Stone, currently on loan to the Leyendecker Museum, is the key to modern translations of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs into English text. You notice that half of the Rosetta Stone seems to be missing from the display, replaced by a small card that reads, Artifact 310 removed from display for research on 9/1/26 by O.M. The highly polished surface feels smooth and cold to your touch. There was silence. While this is, it's your official. You're in the Ancient Egypt exhibit at the Leyendecker Museum. Ironically, there's a gold Ankh medallion, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, resting in the pool of blood. Apparently the shoe's owner stepped in some of the blood. It apparently belongs to a dainty foot. Apparent... 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 Ironically, a close look reveals the initials P.S. inscribed in the back of the bloody ankh. You pick it up and place it in your purse. His right eye is somewhat bloodshot, as if he's been working long hours recently in preparing the ancient Egypt exhibit for public display. A close look at the dagger reveals the words, "Made in Pittsburgh," stamped on the part of the blade that is not buried in Pippin Carter's chest. To your naked eye, the rough surface of the dagger handle doesn't appear to hold any fingerprints, but that's something for the coroner to examine in detail. There is a wide cut in the shirt fabric where the dagger sliced through to Pippin's chest. The cut is slightly wider than the width of the blade, as if it moved to one side after it penetrated his body. You hear a disturbing gurgling noise when you poke Pippin in the chest. When you reach into Pippin's tuxedo jacket, you find a notepad in his inner pocket. You pick it up and place it in your purse.
You scream like a banshee, lass. Did you kill the man then?
No, I just walked in here and found him.
I suppose that would explain your screaming then. Did you see the murderer?
No.
All right, I'll talk to you later after you've had a chance to calm down. Just don't try to leave the building.
Excellent work. Your father would be proud of you. Having already interrogated the guests, Detective O'Reilly is now discussing the murder with the staff members as they leave the party. It would be best if you don't interfere.
Hi, Miss Bowe. I'm Ernie Leach. Dr. Carrington told me you could stay a while and talk to the staff. I've got to lock the doors, so just come and find me when you're ready to leave. Dr. C also has a key, but you don't want to bother him about that.
Thank you, Mr. Leach.
Just be careful where you go. Wolf will get upset if he finds you downstairs. See you later.
Did you manage to learn anything from your interviews, Detective O'Reilly?
Don't bother your little head about it, lass.
It's my job, sir.
This is an official murder investigation, Miss Bowe. Do not be interfering.
Oh, I don't mean to interfere. I just want to know what's going on. Any leads so far?
Dr. Carter died as the result of someone sticking a gift shop dagger in his chest. What more do you need to know?
Well, for one thing, who did it?
Someone who didn't like him, that's my guess.
Brilliant deduction.
If you think that you can do better.
I can try.
Oh, wunderbar. Now we've got the amateurs involved.
I may not be a detective, but I'm terribly clever. I've solved murders before.
Just stay out of me way, lass, and don't destroy the evidence.
Certainly not.
Huh.
Yeah. Humph.